Battle for a unified code of corporate governance is on. It's not over yet. Of course, the first code of corporate governance was about 2 decades ago, rolled out by the Nigeria Securities and Exchange Commission. Since then, there's been a few other codes for the insurance sector and the banking sector. Now, the Financial Reporting Council said there should be one single code for the markets and in the best interest of the investors. But the current one has been going some flip-flops, as it were. First, a number of legal cases that has since been resolved. Then the news in the last 24 hours that the government says the GMOBAS's Financial Reporting Council should step back. On Friday, the Independent Shareholders Association, by the acronym ISAN, pulled out a full newspaper advertorial explaining almost 25 points what should be done with the code. The man who is the founder of Independent Shareholders Association is live here in the studios to talk to us. Sasson Nwosu, good morning. Thanks for coming. We appreciate that. Let's start from the advertorial that you placed out a few days ago. What points were you making? I read through and I was looking for either a yes or a no position, but I didn't find any.
Thank you very much. Every aspect of the publication indicates no. Because that was pulled out from the bulky 64 or 61 pages corporate governance issued by Financial Reporting Council, and we discovered that it was very detrimental to investment in this country. Taking it from the perspective that we're in recession and government is begging for investors to come in. And we believe strongly that that code will drive away investors, and it's not in the best interest of the country. And besides, I think it's not even appropriate for Financial Reporting Council to talk about corporate governance, because purely their job should be scrutinizing the financial aspect of reporting and not the code, because already we have a code from Security and Exchange Commission, and we also have a code from NICOM, we have a code from Central Bank, and creating a super regulator on code shouldn't be an issue, because all the institutions will continue to respect their primary codes in doing business.
In other words, you think Nigeria does not or should not have a single unified code? Is that your position?
No. The fact is that Security and Exchange Commission is in a better place to produce a code that will unify the business environment. Don't forget that everything about investment is domiciled to Security and Exchange Commission. And for us in ISAN, we are acting according to our constitution, which I have here. And I'll read part of it as we progress to show you that what we are doing is our right. So we believe that Financial Reporting Council need to administer issues concerning finances, annual reports, reporting, regulating the professionals like the accountants,
the auditors.
Yes, the auditors and all this and that. That is exactly what they should get themselves involved into and do it properly than going into code. And there have been abuses. If you look at part of what we discussed there, is showing additional financial obligations by these companies. Companies that are even struggling, companies that are disengaging workers, companies that cannot even pay shareholders dividend equitable to the investment. You are asking them to expand the board, to create this committee, to create that committee. It doesn't really make sense.
Now I'm going to get down to one of the things we want to discuss with you later in the program had to do with shareholders' activism again, meaning that shareholders, one of the reasons for the annual shareholders meeting was to hold the directors and the managers of a company accountable, isn't it? For transparency, for good governance, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to respect what the laws of the land says, and whether it's CAMA or the SEC, or if it's a bank has to do with this central bank or PENCOM, whatever it is. So why is it therefore that having a unified code then becomes an issue? Isn't the Financial Reporting Council trying to get you what you want done for you better?
No. The Financial Reporting Council did not. It was exposed. Opinions were raised. But these things were thrown into the dustbin. But let me also say one thing, very fundamental. the CAMA is a primary instrument of the establishment of any business in this country. And the CAMA is an act of the parliament. So it supersedes regulatory orders. Because if you look at, there's a lot of contradiction in the corporate governance issue brought out by financial reporting. It appears, and the way they have done it, is to douse the issue of CAMA. Until CAMA is totally eradicated in this country or revisited, CAMA remains the primary and an act of parliament that every other regulations must stay under it.
You were, of course, you spent most of your life in at the marketplace.
Yeah,
You remember
46 years.
You remember the first Code of Corporate Governance by the SEC under the Atedo Peter side,
Yes.
A committee about 20 years ago, thereabout. And over the years, that was said to be a moral persuasion kind of code. So, and after that, every other code, whether it's Central Bank or NICOM, had been moral persuasion. But the Financial Reporting Council, Jim Obasi's FRC, says we need a code that will be punitive in some manner to make companies and organizations behave themselves in the interest of you, the shareholders.
No, it's not actually in the interest of shareholders. It is purely in his own interest, because power is something that he couldn't manage well. So everywhere except one or two jurisdictions, code is not forced on anybody. You have to explain why you are not respecting this aspect of the code. And that is the best way of life. So you do not force and attach imprisonment, penalty to all this and that. Because, my dear friend, the problem today is that, look at the capitalization of Nigerian Stock Exchange. It remains at 9-point-something trillion. It's not growing, rather it's coming down, and more companies are threatening to leave the country because of bad regulations. And they have been able to manage with other codes that you have talked about. The arrogance of Financial Reporting Council is actually threatening the existence of these investors.
What exactly do you think the previous codes had achieved?
Sanity, fear, enlightenment to shareholders that, oh, this is what is expected of this board. And the board will be taken up on where they fail to do that. And the power of the public explanation is very strong on issues. So I believe that code has achieved a lot, enlightenment on shareholders and other people.
The one by the SEC?
Yeah, by the one by the SEC. At least there's still a lot of respect for that. If you cannot go by it, you explain why you fail to go by that, than the one that is compulsory. And our duty as shareholders, as foremost shareholders association, is captured in our constitution to protect the interests of shareholders in quoted and unquoted companies, to cooperate with stock exchange regulatory authorities such as SEC, Nigerian Stock Exchange, various government and institutional in matters concerning public and private investment in Nigeria and all over the world. Then we crown it up to contribute relentlessly and meaningfully to the growth and development of companies in particular and national economy in general. So we cannot look elsewhere when we feel strongly about issues that will promote businesses in this country, and then because of whatever reasons, I say we are not going to speak out. And I'm happy that we enumerated all these things as it affects both CAMA, regulations of Act of Parliament, and the danger inherent in taking those decisions.
But isn't this very interesting? If you look at the board of the Financial Reporting Council,
it has no board.
By the act that set it up,
yes,
Financial Reporting Council had a board.
Yes.
Had a board
yes.
until the current administration
dissolve the board.
Every board
Yes.
of every government parastatal,
Yes.
perhaps with a few that has since been reconstituted.
Yes.
But even the SEC does not have a board as of today, the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Yes, fine.
Therefore, extant the board of the Financial Reporting Council must have met on this, because the new regulation, the new code, unified code being pursued, had been on the road for the last 1, 2, 3 years with the various public exposure and the stakeholders forum and what have you. On the board of the FRC is the Securities and Exchange Commission. The Central Bank, and they have representative of NICOM and others.
They're actually having about 21 or above that, but all the members that makes up that board are government establishment. They don't have any good number of private.
But the Financial Reporting Council is also government agency.
Yeah. But then, whether it's government agent, but the mere fact that they have a fee which is to be contributed by the private sector to run the affairs of financial reporting, it should be well mixed in a way that those people who are contributing to the existence of Financial Reporting Council must have a say on the board. And it's also very dangerous to have one person as executive secretary. This is an issue concerning investment climate in the whole country.
But hasn't the Financial Reporting Council, previously known as the Nigeria Accounting Standard Board, always have a single executive secretary? That's what the NIPC was. That's the NEPC, the Export Promotion Council. They are all run by executive secretary, who is also called an executive director, or de facto managing director.
Good. In this case, because we are contributing, the private sector is contributing to the existence. NPC, or what did you call?
Nigeria Investment
Promotion. What is the extent of the contribution of private sector in the budget of that Nigeria Investment Corporation? So in this case, almost every part of the budget is being financed by private sector. So we have a say.
So you investors, the issue here, here is that, well, this is what is going to deal with companies where you have investment.
Yes.
That's the private sector part of it. But that's also the public sector part of the new code that relates to whether it is an NPC or Nigerian Port.
I don't think he relays the governmental area of the code.
Yes, because it says it is subject to the executive approval.
What executive approval?
The president. The presidency.
Well, did he subject this to the minister that supervises him?
Well, now that is part of...
No, I'm just asking you.
I don't know. I don't work with the FRC. But all I know is that this issue has now come to another... Well, there's a bus stop, another U-turn, as it were. Now, what's your final position as far as the code is concerned?
Our final position on this is that they should go back, consider the opinion of people who are also contributors to the existence. We don't say we don't want a regulation from Financial Reporting Council, but it should not be Draculian.
Okay, so not that the code should go to the dustbin.
It can go to the dustbin.
It can?
Yeah. Okay. If it's detrimental to the
but
development.
But if it's turned around, you will accept it?
If it's turned around, if it's properly turned around with consideration that we're actually building investment in this country and it respects all other segments of the investing society, we will look at it.
Okay, we'll have a bit more conversation. You're about almost 50 years in the market.
Yeah.
You're stepping out of ISIN in December. We'll want to have not a valedictory interview, but perhaps this is one chance interview. Stick around. Sonny Wosu, founder of the Independent Shareholders Association of Nigeria. We'll talk about shareholders' activism and what his final viewpoints are for the marketplace. We'll be back into it.